Hi everyone, it's John from What Up. Welcome back to another video and happy Wheel of Time Wednesday. Yes, it's What Wednesday, so we have Wheel of Time news for you folks. That's what we're going to talk about today. So we're going to talk just a bit about a few different things. The battle for Randland, yes, that's a real thing. We're going to talk about that, what it is, and what it means for the Wheel of Time, and when you can relatively expect to see more about that on my channel. We're going to talk about the trademarks that Iwata's filed in the last little bit, in the last month or so. We're going to talk just a bit about that video from Natasha O'Keeffe, the actress who played Lanfear in the Prime Video adaptation. She talks a bit about the cancellation of the show, and she is incredibly eloquent about it and says a lot of things that the fans are thinking. And then we're going to finish with the rights debacle. The Wheel of Time, Iwata, Sony, Amazon, love triangle. When it comes to the rights to the Wheel of Time show, we're going to talk just a bit about that at the end of the video and when you can expect to see more information on that. Everyone is talking about it right now. Even Daniel Green did a big video on it recently. But I can tell you this, it's not the full story, but we'll talk about that near the end of the video. So if you love the Wheel of Time as much as I do, if you're as excited as I am about the Wheel of Time and things that are going on in the fandom, or the books, the show, or projects that are coming in the future, consider making us your home for all things Wheel of Time. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, and of course, folks, tell all your friends. So we're going to start by talking about something that is not Wheel of Time related. Last video, I opened up a little bit about my life and things that are going on with my wife and her diagnosis and things that are happening. And the outpouring of support I got from you folks was absolutely unprecedented. I want to thank you all. Starting off, everyone who watches this channel, everybody who subscribes to the channel, who's over my Patreon, which I am sorry I have not posted anything on it in a week or two. Everyone who is talking to me on social media, sending me messages, emails, DMs, offers of care packages, offers of help, you name it. It's been absolutely wild, and I appreciate every second of it. I really do. Thank you all so very much for that. I want to start off by saying that first and foremost, the Wheel of Time fandom is more of a family than a fandom as far as I'm concerned. And I feel like each and every one of you, even those I haven't met, are my family by the way you've been treating me. And I really do, down to the bottom of my heart, appreciate all of that. So let's move on from sad things to kind of Wheel of Time related happy things. We're going to start by talking about the battle for Randland. So the battle for Randland, we're going to bring up an image of it here, is a real thing, folks. It's a card game based on the Wheel of Time. It's a digital card game, and it's releasing soonish. They're going into beta soon, so we probably relatively won't see it for quite some time. And I say soonish, it could be months or more. But we're going to start this with a little bit of a history lesson. Cards of Eternity was the first, and I want to say arguably failed iteration of the Wheel of Time digital card game. There was a TCG that was paper that came out in actual cards back in the 90s. Again, that wasn't super popular. I never got my hands on a deck or played it, and I'm a card game guy. I love card games. I played tons of them over the course of my life. I'm a big Magic the Gathering fan. I started playing in Alpha, stopped playing in Revised. I recently picked it up again for the Final Fantasy set, and me and my kids, every Friday night, we do Friday Night Magic here in the house, and we all play Commander together. So I'm a card game guy. I also have Hearthstone on my phone. I only have 2 games on my phone, folks. Hearthstone and Pikmin. That's it. If you don't know what Hearthstone is, it's a Blizzard-related TCG. So when Cards of Eternity was announced, and it's Wheel of Time related, I was pumped. I was super excited. Interviewed the devs, interviewed Larry from Iwata Studios, talked a bit about the card game, asked questions from you folks, and it ended up being a card game that didn't resonate well with the fandom, if that makes any sense at all. It had a lot of aspects to it that just didn't really sit well with the fandom. It was NFT based, a lot of AI, things of that nature. So when it went live, it really didn't do very well at all and kind of faded into obscurity. I think they took lessons learned from that, and they changed course. They're going to a brand new game studio. So Whitstein Studios is a different studio than what was making it before. And they revamped everything. And they're coming out with this. They called it Battle for Randland. Now, Randland, if you're unaware, if you're new to the Wheel of Time fandom, is a slang term used by the fandom to talk about the Westlands, or they don't really have a name. The place where everything happens in the books. All the countries to the west of the spine of the world. It's I don't know what to call it. It doesn't really have, the continent doesn't have a name. So fans started calling it Randland, and it kind of stuck, and it's kind of a tongue-in-cheek way of talking about that. This game is called Battle for Randland, so it's one of those things where they're taking, I guess, inspiration from what the fans talk about, and they're using it in the game. I'm not sure. So my question to you folks is, in the comments down below, leave questions that you want me to ask the devs. I have secured interviews with the devs. I'm going to be sitting down with them over the next while. I couldn't tell you when. I'm still in the early email process back and forth. I'm probably going to sit down with Larry from iWatt Studios as well about this. They're going to give me early access. I'm going to get some play videos, be able to play the game myself, all of these things. Same things I did for Cards of Eternity I'm going to do for this. I did not do many videos in the Cards of Eternity. And I'm going to tell you why. Like I said, I'm a big card game guy. I love Hearthstone. I play Magic all the time. Cards of Eternity was not really my cup of tea. It probably was someone's cup of tea. Probably someone enjoyed it, but I didn't really think it was my type of card game that I wanted to play. So I had all this content planned around it, and then when I got to test it, I was like, well, it wasn't for me. So I plan on doing sort of the same thing with Battle for Randland. If you folks want to give me your questions that you have for the developers when I sit down with them, I will certainly ask them. I've already put a thread up on Reddit, my social media, and I've got a few questions from you folks already. But I want to remind you folks, I mean, be as funny as you want in the comments, but you folks at this point know who I am. You know that I'm respectful. You know I'm tactful. You know I don't make anybody uncomfortable on purpose. I'm not a mean guy. I don't have it in me to be that. So when you're wording your questions that you want me to ask, I will certainly ask tough questions. I have no problem with that, as long as they're worded in a polite and respectful manner. Does that make any sense? Like, why did you call it Battle for Randland? That's a slang term that the fandom uses. People who don't know Wheel of Time won't know what that is. Things like that. That's a good way of saying that, not why the insert expletive here did you call it that, which is one of the questions I get on Reddit. Of course. So yeah, so if you guys can think of questions that you want me to ask the developers and things of that nature about this card game, let me know. I am certainly asking about the artwork. I'm certainly asking about whether there's going to be AI involved. I did that for Cards of Eternity, and I did that in a very respectful manner. I basically asked the devs, will the artists' names be on each card, like you see in Magic, so we can look and follow their work and enjoy them. And they gave a roundabout answer that basically meant they're using AI. So if you guys have questions like that, certainly put them down below. I will ask them, because this is a card game hopefully meant for the Wheel of Time fandom, so the fandom should be able to ask questions, and I will ask the devs questions when I sit down with them. And again, when I do my early access, I'll do videos, playstyle videos here on the channel, and I will give my honest thoughts about it. I did for Cards of Eternity. I didn't really like the game, and I said as much. So yeah, so that's the first thing. So leave me your comments, questions you want to me to either say or ask the devs down below. But again, tactful and respectful, please. You know who I am. You know how I operate. I won't curse at people or yell at them. That makes any sense. Now we're going to talk just about shift gears a bit. Maybe we're still talking about iWatt. iWatt has put out a bunch of trademarks over the last little bit. Now these come courtesy from Narg from the Daily Trolloc Reddit. So if you folks don't go on the Daily Trolloc Reddit, you can go over there. Now be forewarned, these people pretty much, a lot of people on the Reddit there don't enjoy the show very much. There's a lot of anti-show related content. But there is a lot of Wheel of Time stuff there too, if that makes any sense. And Narg does come up with some news here and there. And these are all courtesy of Narg. Full props to him for this. He's the one who found these trademarks. They're public on the internet. They're not secret. Anyone can find them, but he's the one that did post them everywhere else. So thank you for that, Narg. So they've trademarked the Black Tower, Randland, the symbol, the spinny wheel symbol, Mythology for Us, iWatt, and that's the spinning wheel symbol that they trademark, which is pretty much what we've seen already with the show, kind of. They trademark Trolloc Wars, One Power, True Source, the White Tower, Age of Legends, and the White Tower again, apparently. All these are older trademarks. As you go in, they get older. Why are they trademarking these things? Well, there's a couple of reasons why. Like, if we go back here, Randland, I am 100% sure it's to do with the card game. I mean, Battle for Randland, they trademarked Randland, 1st of September, makes sense to me, right? And again, Battle for Randland, don't know when beta is going to happen. There's a sign up on the website. I've left the website down below, folks, just so if you folks want to sign up for the beta. But the other things, the Black Tower, Mythology for Us, Trolloc Wars, I'm going to guess that a lot of these things have to do with either the Age of Legends movies that they're currently in development with. Yes, there's a trilogy of movies that they're developing. They're casting their leads right now. or they're almost ready to cast their leads. They've most of their ducks in a row for those movies. They're going ahead. The animated film done by Squeeze Studios, based in Quebec, that's based on a young girl going to the White Tower, or possibly the new game that they're creating. So if you are unaware, I did it here on the channel. They have a whole game studio they're setting up in Montreal. They've already hired a bunch of people. They're starting to set up there right now. Montreal is sort of like Canada's big game place. I mean, like BC arguably is pretty big for gaming. Halifax, where I'm based, we have Ubisoft here and a few other companies, but Montreal is where most of them are. Montreal's the big place for all games, and they're creating a studio from scratch. Like, they're kind of doing it right. Like, you look at some of the names they've hired, they all have incredible experience, and they're all very well respected in their community. So I'm hopeful, but because they're creating it from scratch, we're not going to see the game for years. You're talking 3, 4, 5 years down the road before we see a game. It's an open world RPG is kind of what they're talking about. So I would guess that some of these trademarks have to do with either the movies, the animated feature that they're putting out there, or the video game. One of those 4 places, one of those 4 things. That's quite possibly what they're talking about when it comes to that. So let me know in the comments down below what you folks think. Trolloc Wars. Maybe game set then. Maybe one of the movies has flash forwards to that. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know what they're doing. And these are just the things that are publicly in development that we know about. There are, and I can tell you this, there are other things that they're developing behind the scenes that have been alluded to, but they haven't outright said anything, at least to me or anyone else, but they have alluded to other things in the background. There's a lot of wheel-time stuff coming, so it could be for anything else, really, but give me your best guess down below what you think these trademarks are for. I'm going to guess probably mostly the game or movies. That's my guess. All right, let's shift gears a little bit here, and we'll get into the Natasha O'Keeffe comments that she made about the cancellation of the show.
Everyone was hopeful, and it felt like we only got started. It felt like season 3 had landed itself, ready to take flight. So yeah, it's proper really gutted. Landfill was only warming up.
So yeah, gutted. That's the word I'd use. So yeah, the fandom's upset. The people that love the show, the Wheel Time fans that love the show, are upset that it's canceled, especially after the 3rd season was so bloody good. But the cast, crew, production team, everyone else that worked on the show is also, I'd say, arguably even more upset, because it wasn't just a paycheck for them. Almost everyone I've talked to, whether they be production team, cast members, extras, featured extras, crew, caterers, it didn't matter. Anyone I've talked to that had a part of the show loved their experience there. They loved the people they worked with. They got along with everyone. It felt like a very happy, big family atmosphere. Nobody dreaded going to work. And they were making something that they were all intensely and deeply proud of, whether they were Wheel of Time fans or not. Some of them were, and this was definitely a passion project for them, but some of them didn't know anything about the Wheel of Time, but became acquainted with it and knew and loved it by the end of it. So having the show canceled, yes, it hits the fans hard because we want to see it, but you have to understand, for these folks, it's a kind of a double blow, because they're losing their income, they're losing family and friendships that they've kind of cultivated together. I couldn't imagine working a job for a year or 2 years and getting close to people and them, oh no more job, sorry. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, she said it best. We've heard from other cast members. We've heard from Daniel Henney, we've heard from Rosamund Pike, we've heard from Taylor Napier, we've heard from a few other people, Priyanka Bose, talking about the cancellation, and now Natasha O'Keeffe, who plays Lanfear's, also added her voice to the mix. So it's one of those things. This is kind of a big segue into what we're going to talk about at the very end here, which is the rights debacle. So I did a video on this recently. If you haven't watched it, it's the last video I've done, which is a few days ago. Talking about the rights for Wheel Time. It was reported by a number of people. Fellowship of the Fans, Winter's Coming, every Wheel Time creator you can think of. Everyone from Melchior Talks to Critter XD to Lesbian Nerdy to me. I talked about it here too after reading the articles. And then Daniel Green posted a big video on it the other day. A very popular video, actually, about the kind of love triangle between iWatt and Sony and Amazon, and how when Amazon dropped the show, the rights have recently reverted back to iWatt. Sony and Amazon don't have the rights anymore. Now it's with iWatt. What I can tell you, folks, that I have found out is that what's out there right now is not the full story, if that makes any sense. There's more to it than what is being reported. And to kind of clear things up, I've asked for a quote from iWatt. I reached out to the folks at iWatt and I said, hey, can I have a quote on this? And they were kind of surprised because I don't even think they were aware of things that were going on at the time. But they promised to get back to me. And hopefully with a quote, something I can use here in the channel, something from them, they would be the people that would probably be best to get the answer from if everyone's reporting the rights are back with them. So again, like I said at the beginning of the video, we're kind of going off to a couple of feeder videos here. The first one is about Battle for Randland, and we're going to do the dev interviews and some gameplay and different stuff about it when I get the chance, which is in a week, 2 weeks, maybe 3, I don't know. So that'll be a couple of videos I'll do. This is another video that I'm really hoping, I hope I get to do it later today, honestly. I will sit down. I will find the time and give myself the motivation to make this video later tonight if I get the quote this afternoon. But I don't think it'll come today, if that makes any sense. I've asked for the quotes from iWatt, so if they come the next couple of days, then I will be able to sit down and make a video, and I'll release it here on the channel, and hopefully give some expanded information on what's actually going on, and right from the source, which is what I like doing here in the channel. Yeah, I report on rumors and things, I love that, but if I can get the actual information, I like that even better. So hopefully we can see a video on that in the next day or two. That's the hope anyway. And if not, then I will just tell you folks, like, they came back and said they won't give me a quote. But I don't know. They said they would, and they have to talk about it first and then give me the quote, and we'll see what happens. So yeah, so I want to end this by asking you folks a question. What do you want to see from the channel? I mean, I'm doing my What Happens Next videos slowly. Oh, so slowly. They're a pain in the butt. They really are. I don't like doing pre-scripted content where I write down a script and I know what I'm saying. Don't like that. I like just talking to you folks here, which is why I love news so much. What do you folks want to see, though? Like, my explain videos do very well. They're not scripted. I just sit and talk about things I know about when it comes to the books. So if you have questions about the books, if you have questions you want answered about the books, if you have things you'd like me to discuss here on the channel, you want to see a video of a certain thing, let me know in the comments down below. I may not do every suggestion. I may not be able to even do half the suggestions. But if I get a couple of good ones in there that I know I can sit down and do, I will definitely do it. And I'll credit the folks that give me the suggestions as well in the videos. I think I'd like to do at some point or another, start bringing in some of you folks onto the channel here occasionally just to talk about things. I did it for my 2,500 subscriber giveaway when I had Andrew Berenson on the channel. We talked Wheel of Time for about an hour. Super fun. I'd like to do that again. So if you folks are interested in that, let me know in the comments down below as well. Anyway, I want to thank you all very much for sticking with me here to the very end. Here's to many more.